Welcome to 4.5, Finding Equations of Lines. It's the last section in Module 8, and the first page just kind of goes through a couple examples of three different scenarios that we could have to find the equation of a line, and then we'll just go through these examples, then we have 2 pages of examples we'll actually be doing. So these you might want to read through just to see if they make sense after I kind of talk through them, but not a lot of work on this particular page. So once again, the slope-intercept form of the lines is y equals mx plus b, or we can think of it in function notation as f of x equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and 0b is the y-intercept. So 3 different scenarios that we could have to find the equation. If we're given the slope and the y-intercept, so think about it. If they give us the y-intercept and a slope, up some over another, that gives us 2 points. That's a line. If we're given the slope and the y-intercept, we're going to use the property of substitution to find the equation. So first example, find the equation of a line with slope negative 2/3 and y-intercept negative 2. So since we're given the slope, we know that our m equals this. Since we're given the y-intercept, we know that this coordinate, the second coordinate, the y-coordinate, is our b. So we have our m and our b, and literally we're just plugging them in to this equation right here. Y equals our m, x plus b plus negative 2 is negative 2. So one scenario we could have is we're given the slope and the y-intercept. Second thing that could happen is we're given the slope and a point on the line. So if you think about it, they give us some point here, and they give us a slope, so we have a rise and a run. That gives us a second point. That right there it uniquely determines a line, so we can use that. Now, when we do this, we're going to substitute the slope in for m, and substitute the coordinate of the ordered pairs in for the x and y to solve for b. So once we have our m and our b, we're going to substitute that back into the slope-intercept equation. We're good. So we know the this is the second example. Find the equation of a line with slope negative 5, and this line goes through negative 2, 3, this ordered pair. So we have an x and we have some y. Okay, since we know the slope is negative 5, our equation we could write as y equals negative 5x plus b, where we've just substituted our slope in for m. Now we need to find out what b is. If we know m and b are good. So since negative 2, 3 is a point on our line, we can substitute the coordinates into this equation and solve for b. So here we put our y in equals our m times our x plus b. So now we're solving a linear equation with a variable b. So negative 5 times negative 2 is 10. So 3 equals 10 plus b. Subtract 10 from both sides. And this gives us b equals negative 7. So notice, we have our m from back here. We have our b from right here. So all we have to do is put it in the equation. Y equals mx plus b. And that's that. So first thing, they give us the slope and the intercept. Plug our m and our b in. Second thing, they give us the slope and a point on the line. Plug the slope in. Plug the ordered pair in for the x and the y. Here and here. That will help us solve for b. Once we have our m and our b, we plug it into the y equals mx plus b, or f of x equals mx plus b. So the third thing that we could have is 2 points. Now, in the first example, we had the slope and the intercept. In the second example, we had a slope and a point on the line. So the first thing we always need to do when we're finding the equations of lines is have the slope. Okay? So here we're given 2 points. So if we're given just 2 points, they say that point there and that point there, we can find that uniquely determines the line, and we can find the equation of that line. So first thing we need to do is find the slope, then use the slope and either point, and it turns back into the second scenario. So we're going to find the equation of the line that passes through the point negative 6, 1 and 2, 3. First thing we want to do is find the slope. Now, right here, we're given an x1 and a y1, and we're given an x2 and a y2. So we're given 2 ordered pairs. The x and y coordinate from the first pair I'm denoting as our x1, y1. The x and y, x sub 2, y sub 2 is just denoting we have an x and y coordinate from the second pair. Recall that the slope formula, rise over run, our y's are our rise, our run is our x's. So we're just plugging these ordered pairs in over here. So we have our y2, which is 3, minus our y1, which is 1, over our x2, which is our 2, minus our x1, which is negative 6. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus negative 6 is 8. Simplify this. That's our slope. So now what we have is this. We have the slope and we have these 2 points. So it doesn't matter which point you use. We plug the slope into our y equals mx plus b, like right here. Now to find b, we need to substitute either this x and y into this equation right here, or this x and y into that equation. It doesn't matter, you're going to get the same b. So I just plugged in the first one. So to find b, we substitute the coordinates of the original ordered pair into our equation. I'll use this one. So our y equals our m, our 1/4, times x, which is negative 6, plus b. So I've canceled the 2 in here and in there to get to here. Now we want to add the 3 halves to both sides to isolate our b and solve for b. So 1 plus 3 halves, we can say 1 times 2 is 2, plus 3 is 5. That gives us b equals 5 halves. So notice, we have our b, we have our m. Now we can plug it in to our y equals mx plus b right there. And we have it. Okay? So let's just practice a couple of these really quickly, and then we'll get on to the next one. Now, we're finding the equation of the line with the given characteristics. Here we want to find a line with a slope 8, negative 8. So our m equals negative 8. They tell us we have a y-intercept of 0, 4, so our b equals 4. So all we're doing is plugging our m in our b into our y equals mx plus b. So we have y equals negative 8x plus 4. And that's the equation of the line with slope negative 8, y-intercept 0, 4. Same thing with the second one. They're giving us the slope and they're giving us the y-intercept. So we have our m, we have our b, just plugging into our y equals mx plus b right here. Y equals negative 7/8 x minus 7/17. And we have the equation of the line right there. So in the next in the next 2 videos, we'll do, so we did the first scenario, the slope and the intercept. Next we'll do the slope and the point, then 2 points, then we're going to do a little extension of parallel and perpendicular and finding equations of lines.